and welcome to Nintendo Nostalgia, episode 37. I'm your host, Jacob Russ, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Black and Tom Qualls. And we are back, and we are playing with Power. Gentlemen, it has been too long. How are you guys doing?
Oh, you know me. Hanging out, having a good time, debating people and being wrong about it and all that fun stuff.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad to be back. I know last week we had a little break, Ryan, and because I was gone out of town, and the episode went really well. I really liked how it turned out. It's fun to hear the songs again because the music never gets old. But Ryan, what's new with you, man?
I haven't been doing a whole lot. Just playing games. I've actually had solid time to just sit down and play. So
nice.
More recently doing the Zelda DLC. Loving that.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we're not talking about what we've been playing quite just yet, but why don't we go ahead and not waste any time for our lovely listeners out there, and let's get into the news.
All right, yeah. First thing we got up on the news, I'm pretty excited about. You guys know I voiced my excitement for a lot of the games coming up. We saw at E3, and even before that, we got some Splatoon news today that there's going to be a new Splatoon 2 Nintendo Direct coming this week. And matter of fact, when you guys are listening to this on Thursday, it will have already happened.
Unless you listen to it real early in the morning, then you'll.
That's true.
Yeah,
if you didn't know that, guys, there's a Nintendo Direct that just happened. So yeah, that's going to happen on Thursday. Surprise! Yep, that's July 6th. So they're going to be talking about. They said it's going to focus on basically new features, which has me excited. Hopefully, maybe we'll see something about the the voice chat, maybe new features, weapons, and of course, the styles in Splatoon 2. So we'll see what kind of skins and different things we got going on in this iteration, which I'm pretty excited about to see, especially when they're talking about the weapons. That was one of the most fun things to me about the original, was just all the crazy weapons you could get. So I'm excited to see if they're gonna, play up some crazy stuff in this one that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, well, they said it was like a refresher, so I kind of wonder if they're not going
emphasis on fresh.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if they're not going to spoil anything new that we don't know. If they're just going to cover everything they've talked about, kind of give you the reminders of the basics and how it's going to work. Maybe they talk about some online functionality with the Switch a little bit more and highlight that, I guess. But to be honest, I don't expect too much from this trailer. It's just like what the ARMS was one. Everyone predicted this when ARMS got that Nintendo tends to do this now with their big games. When they have a big game coming out, they do a direct right before to highlight it, and I like that. I really like that. I really kind of hope that they continue to do that. Like, I would love before Mario Odyssey comes out to get an awesome direct just about the game and just kind of give me some insight in and things like that. But so, I mean, I know you said you're excited, but are you hyped, like through the roof excited, or are you like, oh, okay?
I don't think I'm through the roof yet. I'm not through the roof, but I am super excited to play this game. I really, really enjoyed the first one, and the salmon run mode that they showed off at E3 a whole bunch. It's got me really excited because I love that, because that puts me in the mind of, I played a lot of Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 on Xbox with a bunch of friends, and the salmon run mode kind of gave me that vibe, and I was excited maybe to jump in now with all my Switch friends and be playing some Salmon Run on Splatoon 2. So I'm super excited for it.
Isn't Salmon Run more of like a random event now? Like, it's not like you can just select it. It's just an option that happens.
I don't know, right? Did you see anything on that? Because I think it's just a mode, right?
It is a mode. There was some rumors circulating earlier that it was only like a seasonal thing, but it was taken from the fact that salmon only swim upstream, twice a year, or swim, like, do the moves twice a year. And so people thought, you can only do this twice a year. But I think it was more flavor and less, actual grounded in that. So,
because I had never heard a follow up on that.
I am really, really stoked for this. I need that little bit of a direct to push me over the edge for getting hyped for Splatoon 2, because I've got so many other games that are just kind of vying for my attention, and I'm still fresh off of ARMS, and so I really just need something to get me in that mindset and get ready for Splatoon. I mean, I see it and I'm like, I get hyped, but I'm not quite all the way there yet, and so that little bit of a push is going to be what I need. I think a lot of fans will need that, maybe some new people too, just like how the ARMS Direct really got us in that mood for ARMS. Like, okay, let's do this. And I think that we're going to see that. I'm really excited I think, for the mode that they have coming out that's like 2 hours long, where you and some friends can team up against some other people, and you go through tasks and different, like, basically missions and stuff. This awesome competitive play mode. I'm really looking forward to that.
That's just grind it out with your bros. Yeah.
Now, is this a day one pickup for you guys?
Oh yeah.
I think it is for me. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the one thing I really am excited about is them pink and green Joy-Cons that if we don't get them here in America, I'm just going to have to order them from Japan. I've never done anything like that. Those are the top 2 colored Joy-Cons that I want.
Those are so cool.
Oh, they're so punk rock, so pop punk. I love it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially the Pro too. We're getting now. I think we are getting the Splatoon Pro.
Yep.
That has the two handles are those colors, which is awesome.
That is cool. Yeah, I'll probably get that. I'm not going to get Splatoon 2 right away. Money-wise, things, and it's like I have to prioritize. I had to pick and choose what I wanted. If I really wanted Splatoon 2, I could have put some money down on that, but I got the Mario Rabbids bundle pre-ordered, and that's $100 there, and
that's cool though.
You know, I just got some other games on the horizon coming up that I would rather put my money towards personally. I think I'm going to be late to the party. I will say that. It's probably going to be a Christmas time game for me unless somebody randomly surprises me with it for my birthday or something. I don't know.
There you go.
You're actually saving money for ukulele. That's where you really, really hope.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what he's doing.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah, I mean, they're getting close to announcing it, and I know it's only like $30-$40. Well, it might be, if we get a physical release, it might be $10 more like everything else is. But yeah, I mean, in general, that's the game. That's the one game I've wanted more than any game this year. I want it more than Mario Odyssey because it is supposed to be a throwback to my favorite game of all time, Banjo-Kazooie, and I have such a hunger for a new game like that. And we're getting closer. We're getting closer.
Almost there. I can feel it.
Every week, it seems like we get a small bit of information of the progress they're doing. They got that update out of the way now for all the games. So all those complaints everyone had, they're fixed. All the bugs, the glitches, the camera issues, they're fixed. I mean, so granted, in the end here, Nintendo is going to get really the best experience for ukulele, and which is, I find out awesome because even though we've had to wait so long, yes, people have played the game. A lot of people love it. A lot of people really hate it. And that saddens me. But for us Nintendo fans, we will have all the biggest complaints from the fans and critics already cleaned up and fixed. So we'll have the purest experience if you held out for the Switch version like me.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it.
Ryan, you like how we tricked him into a ukulele update?
You totally did there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Ryan
Didn't take much.
so Ryan, you owe Tom like $60 now that you guys are down under the table there. Well, yeah, that's Splatoon 2 news.
Splatoon 2. Pretty happy about it.
I'm getting into my news now.
Okay, go for
it. Taking the next seat. I'm excited. Through a roundabout way, it looks like Dragon Quest XI has been confirmed for the West. So we are getting a translation. What system it's going to be on, I don't know. I can keep my fingers crossed that it's a Switch title. But you know, or yeah, it's got to. I hope so. But yeah, it is confirmed for the West. So we are going to get localization potential there. And if it is on the Switch, even if they don't bring it to the States, like we have access to it through Japan. If they're going to have a West version, they're going to have the language that we need it in. So yeah, there's so much hope for that. And I absolutely loved Dragon Quest IX and didn't get a chance to play 10 because it never came here. And I am more than ready.
Nice.
Awesome.
Now I never played any of the Dragon Quest games.
9 is the best one. Like from like a portable standpoint, a connecting with friends standpoint. That it's just a different experience. From 8 is the best, like story wise, but 9 has like so much content to it. So
now, does this do like a Final Fantasy? Now, Jacob, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about here for a second, but so does Dragon Quest do like a Final Fantasy where like every game is a different story with different people, or does it build off of each other?
It is different for every different. Yeah, it's the same basically.
Cool.
Enix's side of things, basically version of what Final Fantasy is, but now they're one company. So yeah. It's like Final Fantasy with Dragon Quest characters. I mean, Dragon Ball Z characters.
Yeah, Toriyama did the art for that.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. When 11 comes out, I'll pick it up, and that'll be my first Dragon Quest. And when it comes out for Switch, I'm that confident. I'll get it for my Switch.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You know, that's a game that I've kind of poked interest in maybe getting one day, especially if it comes to the Switch. I definitely think I'll have to give it a chance, especially with the DBZ art style in there. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So,
what? You're picking up an RPG the day it launches or in launch window?
Weird.
Well, I don't know about the day it launches. It's definitely something I consider about getting. You know, I mean, I know we're talking about RPGs, and I don't want to. This game looks great, but actually, I think it's a good segue, Ryan, into our news that I wanted to talk about, which was we were not bringing news last week because this news dropped while I was gone. And the SNES Mini, guys, was announced. And I know other shows have talked about it already, but our show is all about nostalgia. We have to talk about it a little bit here. And I will say, out of the list, there's 21 games on the list. It's $80. It's got 2 controllers. The cords are longer.
Yay!
It's Nintendo already said they're making more systems than they did the NES Classic, so we'll get into all that details real quick.
We'll see.
My segue is they have the Final Fantasy III, which is 6 in Japan on there, and I hear that that's the best in the series of all time for a lot of people.
It's really stinking good.
So I'm really excited to I want to play that. I want to play it through and through on the SNES Mini.
It's good. It's good, man. Man, that whole thing. My goodness, I said it before when I was on the Link to the Past episode when we did that back when we did the whole Zelda line. I said that not only Link to the Past was one of the more influential, biggest masterpieces, I think in gaming, but that the Super Nintendo itself, its library has just so many games that are critical. Like they're not just masterpieces, but they define genres and are completely responsible for what we have today. And man, looking through that list that's on this thing, I'm like, this is amazing. Like the NES Mini was cool. I was like, man, those are a lot of fun games. That's a great choice. But when you look at the list of 21 games you're getting on the Super Nintendo, it's sick. Like some of those are just not just some of the greatest games ever made, but like of certain genres, like that started certain genres. It's sick.
Now, hold up, guys.
I can't wait for
it. You keep saying Mini. It is the classic, not the Mini.
You're right. It's the SNES Classic Edition. You're right. So, but yeah, that's exciting.
I love the lineup on this. I mean, to make me happy, all I had to do was put Super Metroid on there, and I'd be happy.
Yep.
So that's all that really matters to me. One thing I'm a little disappointed on is they put the Mana series on there instead of Chrono Trigger. I still haven't played Chrono Trigger, and that would have been like a perfect opportunity for me. But really I'm also kind of interested in the Mana series, so I'm not too.
Yeah,
totally
well, that game's pretty great too. Well, and it kind of works in a similar engine, so you'll still get kind of a feel that Chrono Trigger had. It's kind of a hybrid. Chrono Trigger is kind of a hybrid between your Final Fantasy and like Secret of Mana series. But I'm super excited for all that. The looking at the list, of course, the big thing, it's right on the box and a big starburst on the front. Star Fox 2. Unreleased, previously unreleased. It was the mythical, like, wow, did you know Star Fox 2 was actually fully complete, but was never released still, blah, blah, blah. And it became like this myth and legend. The SNES Classic, it's ready to go. Like it's now finally officially being released, which is exciting because there's a lot from Star Fox Zero that was pulled from Star Fox 2. No.
I think Jacob's really excited about this one. The fact that the chicken walker that came from this game. It was in Star Fox Zero, so that element was something that has existed in the past, and I kind of didn't really. I don't think I ever knew that. I knew there was a Star Fox 2, but I didn't know. I heard that it was canceled because of 64. I didn't know anything else about it, and I thought I was kind of intrigued by the two characters. I think I heard there was what was it, a lynx and a poodle or something like that, like a cat and a dog, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Fox.
I want to know these characters a little bit more and find out what they're like.
Yeah, me too.
I'm real excited. I never actually played the original Star Fox, so I'm excited to play that. And I actually heard you want to play the first one before you play 2. So
that's good.
Okay.
Because it teaches you a lot of the mechanics for that particular game.
Yep.
And the second one doesn't. It just throws you right in. And
so is this like a Mario thing where they had the first Mario and then they had the second Mario in Japan, which was a lot harder, and it just kind of threw you into it? Is this going to be like that hard difficulty, or do we have any idea?
I don't know. From what I've seen, I think maybe so.
I don't know, honestly. I mean, I didn't get the vibe that it's like a way harder version. It's a completely different story.
Yeah. Hey, I welcome a completely different story for Star Fox. We've rehashed the same one beginning for quite a while now.
That's true.
So what I love here is that this tells me that even though Star Fox Zero did not do well, that Nintendo still sees life in the franchise. And I think that maybe this is their way of actually rebooting it without rebooting it per se. You know what I mean? It's they're like they're going back to the roots, but they're actually telling the original sequel that they intended to do long ago but can't. And I like you said, there's 2 new cast characters in there that have existed all this time but have never been in a Star Fox game. Yeah. So I love this. Now I will say that good friend, one of my best friends of all time, Mr. Traven Jonas, listener of the show, fan of the show, been on an episode before. Traven. He was on our E3 reactions episode. He was mad that the game has been almost done all this time, and that it never that they're only releasing it on the SNES Mini because he doesn't want to go get a SNES Mini. He doesn't want to do the hunt. I will do the hunt.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I mean, if we don't get pre-orders up, I do plan. I'm going to take off work. And I will be in line camping out. I don't care. I'm mentally prepared for it. Let's go. Bring the Switch. Let's go stand in line. But anyways, I think they will. I think Star Fox 2 will now finally come to Virtual Console. I think that there's no way they're going to limit it to just this hard to get item in the first place.
So let me interject something here for just a quick second. It might be negative. I don't know. What if the NES Classic, the SNES Classic, all this is just a way to supplement them, or maybe soften the blow that they're not going to do a Virtual Console? How true do you think that is, Ryan? Am I crazy? Or
I could see them doing a GameCube Virtual Console, but not the others right away until after the classic stuff's out of the way, like 64 or something. That's what I could see.
Man, dude, why did I never think of a 64 mini, like a 64 classic edition? Are you joking me?
4 controllers would be interesting.
Now, again, you look at the library on that. Now, 64 may be the height of Nintendo's third-party support, so it might be hard to
licenses. Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, that might be tough. So I don't know if we'll ever get that. But this Super Nintendo
could see a Game Boy Classic actually.
My goodness, don't do this to me.
Before they do a 64, just because I think for the 64 it'll take a little bit longer than a year probably to crank out deals and get things back under control. If they really want to do a successful 64, there's a handful of games, but if you want it to be the Mario Nintendo 64 Classic, you need to get the rare games on there. That's going to be hard. But I seen it now. I see this is kind of a side segue. We won't go too deep. I mean, Microsoft and Nintendo are kind of being buddies right now and working with this cross-platform thing. And people poke fun at me about it, like, oh, you like it that Microsoft are being nice to each other? Like, yeah, I don't care that they're being nice to each other. That's great. I love it. I welcome it, actually.
Hey, if it means good games on my Nintendo systems, I am totally okay with it.
Well, and my hope is that connection to Rare and how they have such a deep history with them that Phil Spencer would be cool. I think that they would combine, like not necessarily share. I mean, yeah, share Rare. And I know that Microsoft owns them, but I could totally see a partnership of where Microsoft allows Rare games on Nintendo systems. Maybe if Nintendo helps develop the games with Rare, who knows? I mean, Nintendo.
And I laugh, of course, but you're not saying anything too crazy. I know what you're getting at. I know what you're saying is like we can get Banjo-Kazooie on Switch. That's what you're thinking.
Sure.
I know you haven't said it yet, but that's what you're thinking.
Racing is more likely, but yeah, both would be great.
But still,
Phil's even said to put he's welcome to put Banjo-Kazooie in Smash Bros. I mean, I could easily see that.
Well, hey, I'll say this. I laugh again, like I said, but, Microsoft owns Mojang flat out. Yeah. The Minecraft people, and here we are with Minecraft on the Switch. So
exactly.
I don't think you're too far-fetched. I know you're super excited about Banjo-Kazooie, but
I mean,
Ryan, would you guys say something?
I could see Sea of Thieves coming to the Switch one day. I mean,
maybe.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I'm just spitballing here. You never know.
I don't think we're going to see it would sell the console like crazy, but I don't think we're going to see a GoldenEye on this N64 Classic. But I could say, even though it saddens me, without a shadow of a doubt, maybe you want to place bets or something. I don't think they're going to do a Virtual Boy Classic.
Nope.
No, they never will.
I don't think so either.
If they haven't done anything for the 3DS now, which is the perfect system to do Virtual Boy, they're never going to do that.
Yeah,
I agree.
Until we hit like virtual reality for Nintendo, whenever they really dive into that,
they would have to change up the color. It wouldn't be the same.
Oh yeah!
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
I can see them remaking key games though for it.
The red and the black just doesn't work.
No,
that old Wario game, you could redo that. But so I mean, we're not talking about the 64 Classic here. I mean, in general, I'm excited. There's some games about the SNES Mini I wish were on there. Like clearly, Donkey Kong Country 2 should have been on there. A lot of people say 3, and 3's good, but put the whole trilogy on there, I could see. But if 3 was the weakest out of the bunch, and I would rather have 1 and 2 on there if we couldn't get all 3. 2 is better. Tom, I know you have issues with this.
No, listen, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't know if it needed 2 specifically. I don't know. They did it with the NES Classic. They're doing this with Final Fantasy on the SNES Classic. They put 3 on there and not 2, even though 2 is really good. Because 3 is the definitive one. I think the difference. I think when you're picking at it, I think Donkey Kong Country 2 is probably better, but Donkey Kong Country is still Donkey Kong Country. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 might be too much of a deep cut for folks. You know what I mean? So I like that it's on there. Don't get me wrong, but one I think that is honestly sincerely missing is Chrono Trigger. But other than that, you can't beat those 20 games on there. It's just so thick.
Well, here's what I will say about Donkey Kong Country. And Kyle Martin and I talked about this. I mean, it makes sense that if they didn't want to do 2 Donkey Kong games, the first one, it's the only Donkey Kong Country game that has Donkey Kong playable in it out of the 3, and it's his game, it's their baby, and it was the best selling one out of the bunch, even though 2 did improve on everything. But if I could change anything on the list, it would just be add 2. But yeah, that's enough of the SNES Classic. Again, this is old news to everybody else. We're late to the party here, but I'm excited.
We had to get it off our chest.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'll be getting it. And I'm going to love the crap out of it. So, but with that said, guys, real quick, what have you been playing? You talked about it. We had DLC for Zelda drop last Friday.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'll tell you right now, all I've been playing is Donkey Kong games on my 3DS from time to time, but I've been playing this DLC, and man, is this the refresher I needed. I've been on my Switch because I'm not like Bobby Big Bucks. I don't have Bobby Big Bucks here. I don't buy a game every single week, so I've been just kind of been bored with my Switch. Not bored that the system's bad, just bored because I don't have much to play on it right now. I've beaten just about everything on it, this Zelda DLC, as soon as it dropped, like I'm back into Zelda. I played it on Saturday, literally like the whole day. It was like it was when we first got it back in March, and I loved it. I really, really loved it. I'm enjoying the DLC a lot and having a hard time with it, which is a good thing. Like I'm not having a hard time as in it's bad, as in it's just addicting and it's challenging, So that's what I like about it. But that's what I've been playing. How about you guys? Ryan?
I've been playing Zelda, of course, and I've gotten to the final trials. I've gotten to 23, I think. And if that isn't the end of it, like I'm gonna be upset, like because I'm having so much trouble. I've gotten to 23 twice now and died.
Oh, man.
So, and I'm almost there again.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm almost there again. So hopefully this time, third time's the charm. But what I've actually really been playing the most is Pokemon Go. Ever since this gym change,
yeah,
I've been playing it a lot more. And
Nice.
actually,
I got back on it too.
I went out. It was Saturday, and I got set up to where Nisa can get a new phone, so Nisa can finally start playing with us again because the phone was a 5C and it wasn't doing very hot with memory and stuff. So now it's 128 gigs.
Yeah, no.
So Nisa's set.
There you go.
We can play on
Cool.
our mystics and go take down gyms.
Yeah, that's right. Glad you're on the right team.
That,
Yeah, you talk about making nostalgia. That original Pokemon Go launch will go down in memories I will never forget. The summer of 2016 was great. That was so much fun.
it was awesome. I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed spending time with friends doing that. And Traven and I went downtown, walked around the canal. And
Like, yeah, dude.
that was so neat. I did enjoy that. It's not enough to get me to play it all the time because I can't do that every day, every weekend. But I just wanted to say that. Tom, what about you, man?
Yeah.
We've been playing.
Well, I've been playing a few things. Still been working through ARMS. I'm this weirdo who likes to clear a lot of single player stuff before I go online.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people just jump straight in, but I'm that guy. Is like I really want to hone my six and then get into okay. Now I'll play against people. That's a little frustrating though. I'm trying to beat the game on at least 4 difficulty. That's kind of where I'm at. And if you think I'm a loser, that's fine. Fight me. But there's that is kind of hard to get through right now for me, mainly because this is one of those fighting games that in order to make it more difficult, the AI just pretty much reads what you're doing and humans can't do that. So whatever, but I'm trying to play through and beat it. The Grand Prix with every character. I got 4 or 5 left to complete. So just kind of chipping away at that. Then the other big one I played and beat and it's hard for me to pull away from. Ryan gave me the recommendation, Mighty Gunvolt Burst.
Yes.
Holy cow. Oh, it's scratched a very, very specific Mega Man itch, and it's the best non-Mega Man game I have ever played. Like, and it's so good. It's so good. And once you get into that whole customization system, how you can make your own weapons and you get all the upgrades for them and you can make them do all kinds of wild, crazy. Oh my goodness. That's a little kid, Tom, can't get off of the customization screen. It's like, ooh, what if I took the blades, but every time I threw a blade at the wall, it bounced into 10 more blades. Like, that would be awesome. Like, so I just sit there and find myself in the customization screen, not doing anything but just making weapons. So
Yeah.
it's super fun. And then this weekend I went to the North American Pokemon International Championships, which is a mouthful, but it makes it sound fun. But doing some of that there and watch some of the video game competition, which you guys should totally catch up on if you're into the Pokemon video games. A lot of great matches this weekend, and the card game. But I was found at the Pokken setups. They had like 16 Pokken setups that you could play, the Wii U version, obviously, and did a bunch of that and really, really got me excited for Pokken DX, the one game that nobody wanted, but except me, I guess. Got me really excited for that. So I played a bunch of that this weekend. Got me ready for the DX version. But then, speaking of Zelda DLC, I started playing that about 20 minutes before we started recording because I totally forgot we were recording tonight. And until Jacob sent me a message like, hey, you want to record in a little bit? And I was like, oh, did not forget. So I have played a grand total of 10 minutes of the new DLC, and by 10 minutes I mean it showed me all the little quests. I picked one and I started to walk towards it, and that's as far as I've gotten so far. So
very nice. Side note on your Pokemon thing, when I flew back home from Seattle, I sat right next to a guy who was coming to Indy for the first time, and he works for the Pokemon Company. He was coming here specifically to be a judge in this tournament, and I thought that was really cool. I talked to him.
Oh yeah, dude.
He's actually now in part of our Nostalgia chat group on Facebook. Right. No, so shout out to him. I won't say his name. That's probably celebrity stuff there. If everyone knew what he did, people would be like, hey. You're like, no. So
no, that's a lot of fun. A lot of people didn't know that exists, but dude, play Pokemon is huge, you guys. If you're really even curious into playing anything competitively, whether it's the card game, which by the way is the healthiest it's ever been. It's so much fun right now. The card game's great. The video game is super great, and we're about to get Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. So get into that. And if you guys are looking to play, let me know. I got some places here local in Indy that would love to have you play.
Cool.
Radical Rex, dude. Well, guys, I think that is good enough talk about your gaming life, okay? People don't want to just hear about your gaming, what you've been playing.
True.
So we're going to actually get into the meat of the show, okay? Big, fat, gray-sized meat. So let's get into the topic of the week. It's all about what this whole month's going to be about, folks. The Game Boy.
The original Game Boy came out in a gray color. It came out on July 31st, 1989 in America. There were actually three versions of the Game Boy, varying colors, of course. On September 3rd, 1996, they released a smaller Game Boy Pocket. And then in Japan only, on April 14th, 1998, they released a backlit Game Boy Light, which was pretty cool. I'm sad I didn't get to try out that when it was around. So.
Yeah, me too. And you know what? The list of games on it was pretty interesting. It launched, like you said, July 31st, 1989 here in the U.S. With a grand total of 5 games. That's right. I know people like to complain about launch titles, but the Game Boy, the great almighty Game Boy, launched with a whole 5 games. A couple of them you're going to recognize, but 3 of them I guarantee you don't care about. I guarantee it. So let's here's this one. Let's get the easy ones out of the way. Tetris.
Yep.
Launched with Tetris. This is everything you know about Tetris, launched with the Game Boy right here in July 31st, 1989. Launched with Tetris. The amazing Super Mario Land was a launch game. Yeah. And then here we go. You ready for this? We had a game called Alleyway that was launched with the game, or with the system, which is basically, you ever played Arkanoid? It's like kind of a Pong type game where you break bricks. I think another style called Breakout, maybe some people call it Breakout. That's what Alleyway was. It was just a brick breaking game.
Ooh.
Yay. Yeah.
Something you gotta understand your cell phone.
Here we go. Exactly. Like the old Nokia cell phones, you could play that game. So the other two, tennis.
Yeah.
That nothing special. No like Mario Tennis. No like Super All Star Mega. No tennis. The fifth and final launch game for the Game Boy, baseball.
Woo!
Yeah, not even no fancy, not King Griffey Jr., not like Super Space. No.
I'm pretty sure Mario was in that baseball game.
I don't know if I really remember.
I had.
He might have been. To be honest, you know who designed baseball though?
Who?
A super special guy by the name of Shigeru Miyamoto designed.
Yeah, that would.
He's the designer for the game baseball.
Wow. I did not know that.
That was the launch lineup. So when this hit back in 1989, when Old Man Tom was just a young boy of 4 years old, going on
Wow.
5. You know,
wasn't it? I can't pronounce his name very well, but Gunpei Yokoi was
Gunpei Yokoi
put it out.
Yep.
I think he did some other work like Virtual Boy and things like that. But sad that we lost him to a car crash.
Yeah, it was pretty. That was pretty crazy. But he had a lot of. I think he still had a lot in him to get out. I mean, with stuff like this and the Virtual Boy, I would have loved to have seen what he could have created on top of that.
Yeah, we had baseball. I remember playing it a lot, and Mario was right there. Mario's on the front cover of the cartridge, so it wasn't labeled as Mario Baseball. Mario's throwing the pitch, and I remember you got to play as him, and so
when the title of the game is just baseball, you got to have something to sell it, and Mario was the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Mario Baseball didn't actually exist till later, but yeah, that's what it was. So I mean, that's actually not that bad of a lineup if you look at the games for the time. I mean, you had Mario Land, a brand new Mario adventure, and you had Tetris was a breakout hit that no one expected. And then, tennis sucks and that breaking game sucked. But with Mario on the cover of baseball, I think that probably sold it itself right there. Like, oh, wow, Mario's playing baseball. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
now it's great. Hats, but
literally, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not that bad of a lineup. But I mean, the meat of the Game Boy was awesome. Okay, it was revolutionary first time. We just had the Nintendo Switch come out. Okay, this is the first portable home system, and Nintendo has finally combined their digital handheld department with their home console market, and it's genius. But for the time, this was genius. Like, Nintendo had their home console market, but no one was doing portable gaming like this. Nintendo has owned this market from day one when they launched the Game Boy. They still own it to this day.
Yeah.
Even the big bad PlayStation has tried and attempted to take down it
twice.
Has tried to attack Nintendo on their portable homes, and they just can't do it. And I hope it always stays that way. That's Nintendo's big card.
Don't forget about the Game Gear. Hey, Sega tried.
Yeah,
they did. They tried real good. And if it didn't eat 90 batteries every 3 days, it would have been great.
It was awful.
But, and you mentioned that how other people have tried to get into the handheld market and things, and they just can't do what Nintendo does. And I honestly think that's because Nintendo has always pushed their handheld consoles. They're supposed to be more social systems, you know what I'm saying? So with the original Game Boy, you had the link cable. So what was killer when, Tetris was a huge breakout hit because you could do that link battle with a friend. And then I'm sure we'll talk about a very special series called Pokemon here soon. You can't talk about the Game Boy without talking about Pokemon. Yeah. You can't talk, the two go hand in hand, but part of that was because you could take the Game Boy anywhere, play with anybody who was around. And it was something I don't think any other handheld was able to really replicate that, and still really can't.
So Jacob, you ran with the original. Was it your brother's or was it yours or?
So the Game Boy technically wasn't mine. I had I remember this. I remember going to Toys R Us on East Washington Street over here, the same one we have today. And I remember sitting in the cart, and my mom bought the Game Boy for my oldest brother, Josh. I remember holding it and looking at the back. I was in love with it. And it wasn't even mine. It was for my brother, his birthday. And he got that thing. And, of course, me being the curious little kid I was, I'd always be watching. Oh, we have photos of me watching over his shoulder, seeing him play it. And then eventually, like, my brothers, they were in high school by the time I'm in there was a big gap between us. So they were in middle school to high school when I was in elementary school. Okay. Right. I mean, my brother graduated high school in 2000 and I was in second grade. And so they, you know what I'm saying? Like, they moved on with life. Like, gaming took a back seat for them.
Yeah.
And basically, I mean, I just kind of took his 64, took his Game Boy as my own. And the NES,
yoink.
Our NES broke. My mom accidentally broke our original Nintendo. And when that happened, the only form of gaming I had, besides when I would go to Traven's house and play his Super Nintendo, was the Game Boy. So the Game Boy really actually was my primary video game console for years, for a whole freaking long time, because gosh, the NES probably broke maybe in 1993-ish, 92, it was around 93. It had to have been. But it broke, and the Game Boy was my go-to thing. I got lots of games for Christmas and birthday for it, and it lasted me up until we got our 64, which wasn't until like 1997 for us.
Yeah.
So
it's a solid life.
Oh yeah. I mean, I loved the Game Boy, and it's so funny though, because I think for me personally, having the Game Boy, I always had this desire. I really wanted a home console. Like, home console was like, that's the big experience, I really wanted, because I didn't have the Super Nintendo. I was at Traven's. I loved going to his house to play this nice, awesome, up-to-date, better than my NES system. And then he got the 64 before I even had it. And it was just, I always wanted it. So to me, it was just kind of secondary, because the Game Boy didn't have the console style graphics or the console style music. The adventures on the home consoles were bigger. So I always, to me, handheld gaming, you'd think I'd be like all about it today, and I do enjoy it, but home console has always been like my preferred choice, because I think I desired it so much since I gamed on a portable so much as a little kid. So I think I actually had the opposite effect for me.
Yeah. Ryan, did you ever own the brick, man? Did you ever own the big gray monster?
No, I never owned that one. I would always play it at Jacob's, but that was about it. That was the extent of it.
Yeah. Dude, I had the brick, baby. I had the big fat gray boy. And I didn't have it, like, obviously at launch. I was 4, and I had my NES at the time, and that was well enough for me. But I want to say it was around 93 or so. I had a guy at school, I can't remember exactly who, but he wanted to sell all of his stuff. And he had that cool, like, giant case that looked like a Game Boy that held the Game Boy and all the games. So he was like, I'm just going to sell everything. And I want to say he sold that to me for like $60. So I remember, like, begging my parents for, like, I don't have to give me anything for my birthday. Just give me $60 and so I can buy this from this kid. And they did. They obliged. So I ended up buying it for like $60. I had like that. It came with, I had Ninja Turtles, Follow the Foot Clan. I had Castlevania Adventure, which was the Castlevania for that. I had Tetris, obviously. And I want to say I had a couple other ones. I ended up going to a pawn shop and buying Killer Instinct for the Game Boy. So that may have been 94, 95, actually, more I think about it. 94 might be the right year. But anyway, that's beside the point. I had that, dude. And Jacob talked about how, he always wanted a home console, but he had the Game Boy and all this thing. And I know the whole allure of the handheld is that you can go out and do things, and like you can play outside with it and take it on a car ride. And I was still that kid that played it at home, though. I was like, I'm just going to play it at the house and treated it like another system. Now, maybe I was a terrible kid, and that's fine. But the bonus was, right around the same time, my parents enacted a no video games during the school week kind of principle, because turns out little Tommy was really bad about doing homework if there was a Nintendo to play. So. Or at the time, Sega Genesis. I was playing my Sega Genesis like crazy. So they enacted that ban. But what was nice about the Game Boy? Hurt. So you can sneak that bad boy under the covers with the flashlight.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
No, my parents had the exact opposite effect for me. I gamed so much throughout the week. They said no gaming on Sundays. That was the Lord's days. We went to church and you could not play the Nintendo at all. It kind of, I don't know, that
keeping that Sabbath.
That fell off once I hit middle school. Thank goodness. But sorry, that was a side note. You were saying?
No, that's what I'm saying. And that kind of became my secret boy. And then my brother eventually got the Game Boy Pocket.
Yes.
Right around the same, I remember it was the Christmas of '97. I think he got a Pocket because it was I remember playing Diddy Kong Racing during Christmas break when my uncle called me and was like, "Hey, would your brother like a Game Boy Pocket?" And I was like, yeah, maybe, whatever, blah, blah, and all this stuff. So I remember that he got a yellow Game Boy Pocket that Christmas. So
girl one.
And where Jacob was the little brother who kind of like commandeered the older brother's Game Boy, I was the older brother who lorded over the Game Boy. It's like, now listen, you don't really know what you're doing, so I'll take care of this for you.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
No, we had the gray Game Boy too. So like I said, I'm glad you brought up the Pocket, Tom, because I don't know whatever happened to the gray one. I need to rebuy one, but here I hold in my hand. You guys, you can't see this, but they can. I hold my original Game Boy Pocket. It's red.
Yay.
And I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with this story. Okay. Not all my nostalgic memories are as clear as day. Okay, people, forgive me, but
me neither.
I'm pretty sure that I got the red Game Boy Pocket the same year Pokemon Red came out. And I thought it was so cool because I got red version and I got a red Game Boy. Like, this is awesome. They go they go together. And I played Pokemon, the crap out of Pokemon on this. I still have my original red Pokemon red cartridge. I could plug it in right now and play it and see what the old gang's up to. But no, this thing is dirty. It is filthy. And my wife just informed me that my daughter had pulled it off the shelf and was playing it, probably chewing on it, which I see how dirty it is. That's not a good thing. But I'm missing the back here. But the Pocket had a great upgrades because it was. We talk about how portable the gray Game Boy was. Well, the red one was even more portable because, I mean,
it fits in your pocket.
It fits in your pocket. It's easier to take with you. It's not this giant, massive brick that fits in the side of your house. It's and even better was they went from I'm going to sound really stupid. AA batteries that were in the gray Game Boy. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they went from that, which took I think 6 batteries in the gray Game Boy.
4. It was 4 in the gray.
Was it 4? Okay, sorry. Again, I don't have my gray one anymore, so I'm a little rusty. And then we got down to the smaller batteries, which were just two of them. All you needed was 2 to run the Game Boy.
2 AAAs.
2 AAAs, exactly. And
were they triples? I could have swore they were still doubles. It was just 2 of them instead of 4.
It's triple C. One interesting thing too is the back case that locked in my batteries.
Oh, you're right. I remember.
It's gone. It's missing. I don't know where the heck that ever happened to that. But no, can you guys just? While I'm holding this, I see the little power light on the left side, and you remember the nightmares, the frantics of seeing the battery power getting so low, and I got to get to a save. If they had a save point, not all games did, but I've got to save that. I've got to save it. The red is the light is so dim. I don't know if this is going to die any second.
Ryan, did you have a Pocket? I know you said you didn't have the brick, but did you have a Pocket?
I most certainly did. It's one of my fond memories, really fond memories of my childhood. I remember every Christmas, we didn't have a Christmas list together, so my mom would on Black Friday would have us just look through the ads and just go through and pick out some stuff that we wanted, make a list.
Yep.
And the only thing I wanted that year, I came across this ad for a Game Boy Pocket, and it was the yellow one, and it had I think it was Donkey Kong Country 2.
Yep.
And I wanted that, and I just that's all I wanted for Christmas. It's usually my case. I have this one thing I really want, and everything else is just cool. You gave me that, but this is what I really wanted. So
nice.
So I asked for it, and my mom came to me a little later, and it's I can't find this one anywhere. I'm sorry. Would you be okay with just another one? What color would you want? And I settled on black.
Nice.
But she also picked me up a copy of the. I don't know if it was bundled or not. I think it might have been still. But it was a black one that had the Donkey Kong Country 2. So that was my first Game Boy game.
There you go, yeah.
And
you can't go wrong with Donkey Kong.
Sorry, Donkey Kong Land 2.
Yes, Land
there you go. Yeah.
Yes.
Same game, really.
Yeah.
And so that was my intro to that game. And then I also got, I think there was some kind of game that had Joust in it. I remember playing a lot of Joust. I don't know what
I think there was Joust for Game Boy, yeah.
But I played a lot of that. And then that was a really awesome Christmas. And I also got a Game Shark too. And I had this I had this Game Shark book that had like the kid on the back with like the shark teeth, and I love that thing. And I was trying to pick up games for my Game Boy Pocket just so I could use my Game Shark on it. And I had what was it? Of course, I picked up Pokemon. I remember opening it up out of the box and having this and thinking it was really cool, and like that was something really special for me. Just that Christmas memory and getting that game. And awesome. I remember going to like, my mom is big into like dog shows and stuff, and I would go to these dog shows, and I would just, all I'd ever do, like I didn't care about the dogs, I didn't care about anything. All I wanted to do was just play my Donkey Kong Land 2.
Nice. That's awesome. What were some of your guys' like? I mean, obviously, I think all three of us have the common link of Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Obviously, you play. I was a blue guy. Jake or Ryan, are you blue or red?
I'm red.
Blue.
I'm the only blue.
Ryan.
No. I had red originally, and then I caught Missing No, and a week later, a blue was dropped in my lap. Like it had just rained, and I was at the kennel, and I went outside, and it was there, and it still worked, and I had like maxed out rare candies and tons of level 100 Pokemon. It was like it was a godsend because I just lost my red version.
Everything,
If you want to hear more about Ryan's story there, go back and check out our original Pokemon episode. Like it's like episode 4, something like that, way back then.
And that's what I was saying. So I know we all have that Pokemon link, and this could easily turn into why Pokemon and the Game Boy were the perfect marriage. But what other games did you guys play that we talked about kind of our first, but what are some of the other games you guys played that like really stuck with you as far as like, man, that was great?
Ooh, gosh. Can I go first, Ryan?
Go for it.
Okay. I mean, I have a list here of games that I loved. I mean, like I said, this was my primary system, so I have more than just a game, Tom. I have a lot of games.
Games is,
okay. Right off the bat, I mean, the games, yes, Tetris was there. I never was good at Tetris. I just always liked the music, and like I would just kind of fiddle around. I'd fiddle around with it as a kid. I never really played it hardcore. But no, it was definitely the Mario. The top two, Mario Land 1 and Mario Land 2. I loved those games, and like
2 is so good.
Playing them as a kid, like this was so cool because I was attracted to him because I loved Mario 1 and 3 for our NES, and we no longer had the NES, but this was my way to play Mario, and I would constantly remember playing those games, and to think about how hard they are. Well, Mario Land 2 was actually pretty easy to go back and replay today. I haven't really tried to play Mario Land 1 today as an adult, so maybe it's easy, but I remember back then it was very hard. Hard for me as a kid, and like there's no saving, guys. There's no save points. The 3DS, I kind of feel like a freaking cheater because like you could just save.
Yep, you do the save states,
anywhere. I mean, you could literally save right before a boss and just keep retrying and retrying and retrying until you get it. But back then, that's not how it works. I mean, especially Mario Land 2 had save spots, but I think the game automatically saved for you as you got your progress in. Yeah. But Mario Land 1 did not save anything. And if you popped a battery out, which was something funny that would happen, if you hit the Game Boy too hard, maybe a battery got loose and it killed the system. And you have to, or the battery died or whatever. So Mario Lands were really cool. But I have a lot more than just those. I had a game I would love to see come back again is Who Freaking Framed Roger Rabbit. Brought that game on my gray Game Boy. I played that. I loved that movie as a kid.
Jacob,
I never owned it. I never owned the movie as a little kid, and like my parents, I don't know why my parents didn't do that. Like every time we went to the theater to rent VHSs, I always got the same movies. I always got Who Framed Roger Rabbit and The Mask. I always.
Oh my gosh.
My parents never said no. We just rented that the last time we rented movies. I got the same movies every time, so I loved them.
Oh man,
we had that game. I remember the weasels. They scared the crap out of me because they kill you. They're like you were defenseless basically. They're the guardians of this game. That you were defenseless of them. and so you got strung on the game. I never beat it. It's a game I really would love to revisit and actually knock off the bucket list there. So that was one. I remember Rampage. Rampage was an awesome game.
Dude, Rampage is cool.
It reminded me of Beast Wars at the time because that was a really big thing in my life back then. Because you could be like a gorilla and you had the T-Rex and the raptor. Like that was really cool. Gosh, I know I'm flying through a list here, but there was we had a little indie race car game that you could customize your own wheels and stuff, and that was fun. Nice. It was hard. I never beat it. Yeah. Metroid 2. Everyone's talking about this Metroid remake. My brother Adam had this game, and it was a game I adopted. And when I think about it, like I never beat it as a kid. I beat it by the time I hit like 6th grade. So as I got older, I beat it when I revisited it and could understand it more. Yeah. But when I think about it, the levels, I actually got really, really close to beating the game as a little kid. And I'm actually quite impressed with myself. I got down to the final depths of that game without actually beating it way back when.
You put Roger Rabbit down just enough to be able to.
Yeah. And you guys, you cannot talk. Everyone says Pokemon is the top game with the Game Boy, which it may be true, but guys, what character was born the same year I was born and was released on the Game Boy? His first game ever. It was Kirby.
That's true.
Kirby, guys. I love Kirby. I played that game through and through. I loved Kirby. I loved Kirby's Dream Land 2 when you could ride all the animals.
Yep.
Again, I played Jurassic Park on this thing. I have a lot of Kirby's Tilt and Tumble, Kirby's Pinball. Oh,
that was a good game.
You played Kirby's Pinball.
Good game.
And I know. I mean, I'm sure there's even more. I'm not thinking of baseball, things like that, but
sure.
And I know, I want to say real quick, I know I joke and call the yellow Game Boy Pocket a girl system, and I know it's not a girl color, but in my mind it is because when my sister and I were like 2 years apart. I'm older than her, but if I got something, she had to get something. So she got Pokemon Blue and I got Pokemon Red. Well, she got a yellow Game Boy Pocket when I got a red Game Boy Pocket. And she also got like the Adventures of Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse or whatever. So I was like, that's a girl system. In my mind, mentally, I always thought as a little boy, like, oh, that's for girls. You know what I mean? But so no, yellow's cool. I actually would probably get a yellow today because it reminds me of Donkey Kong stuff.
Hey,
but
that's what I had. I had the yellow, man.
Yeah. I mean, yellow is cool. I always play the 64 on a yellow controller for Donkey Kong. But yeah, I could keep talking, but I'm gonna let Ryan before I say every game that ever existed.
What's your jam, Ryan? Yeah.
Oh, let's see. My goodness. I did play a lot of that Mario Land 2. I did enjoy that. I think I love the idea of going inside like a mechanical Mario in one of the levels. That was like my favorite one. In fact, when I rebooted it up recently, that's the first place I went was that one because I love that world. I have a lot of like weird likes for that system. Like I think probably my favorite thing that I got for it was the Game Boy camera. Like I did so much with the Game Boy camera, and I had the printer, and I had the printer paper, and I printed off the stickers, and I
remember that.
Crazy with that. Like
original selfies, dude.
I never had it. One. I remember going to Ryan's house and watching Ryan do this, and we took photos. Like it was so funny because I mean, let's be honest, the pictures look terrible. I mean, they're not very good at all. But the fact that you could take photos with your Game Boy, revolutionary.
I felt like the hugest like awesome person because I could take and his digital camera.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
That was really a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you could animate stuff too, couldn't you? You could like take pictures and then like animate them in order. That's awesome.
And the soundtrack was really creepy. I think this was a Game Freak creation, like early on. But oh my goodness, it's so good. There was like a bunch of like mini games on it where you took a picture and you could kind of put that picture in there as like a boss or something, and you like they had like a Galaga type game, I think, or no, it was like Space Invaders type.
Yeah.
And they had several different like mini games and stuff, but there's like hidden menus that you could find and hidden features, and just like it would do some of the weirdest things. And I was always finding new stuff up in that game. Like I'd play it everywhere. I loved it so much.
What other stuff did you play a lot on that?
I didn't have a whole lot of games for it. Like Pokemon was like my biggest thing. Like that was what I played the most on it.
It's because he had home consoles.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a bit fuzzy. Like, wasn't Tilt and Tumble on the Game Boy?
It was on color.
Yeah.
And I think my transition game was the Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening. I think I want to say I had the DX version, but you could play that on
either. Yeah.
So I actually upgraded like in the middle of playing that game, and I got a color. So I did start out playing Link's Awakening there. So that's kind of a big one.
There were a few Game Boy Color titles early on that you could cross play. The Silver, you could cross play the two Pokemon, that is. So, but yeah. So the games I used to play all the time on mine were. I have a very interesting history. My nostalgia is weird because, like I said, I adopted all those games from that guy when we bought the old brick, and I played it. I didn't play it like a lot, but I played it enough to be like, this is cool. This is cool. Again, I had Ninja Turtles, Fall of the Foot Clan because I'm a Ninja Turtle guy through and through.
Yeah.
Castlevania Adventure, which was pretty terrible from what I remember, and I believe I eventually lost in the cushions of our couch. And that's when I swore that my couch had some sort of magic force and it's gone. Because I took apart our couch one day and just I don't know what happened. So there's that. And like I said, I bought Killer Instinct for Game Boy. Terrible. But these are the ones I played. And eventually what had happened was the Game Boy is the reason I got a Super Nintendo. So
lucky.
I know. Well, it was weird. So my grandma and my grandpa, I would go over their house and my grandma had a Super Nintendo. Mm-hmm. She had F-Zero, Donkey Kong Country, and Super Mario World, and I would play that stuff like nonstop. Like I loved F-Zero, and I'd sit there and play it. One day she was like, hey, would you trade me your Game Boy for my Super Nintendo?
What?
And I thought about it for a grand total of 10 seconds, I think, and I was like, yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat. So I did. She was like, yeah. She goes, I just really like playing that Tetris game, and I think I had another little platformer she liked to play. I can't remember. I only had like 4 or 5 games playing Tetris. She goes, and I never played the Super Nintendo. So what if we just swap?
Oh my god!
Absolutely, I'll do that every time. So that's how I got my Super Nintendo.
You lucky duck.
Yeah. Oh yeah, hands down. So once that happened, I was playing my Super Nintendo nonstop. But when the Pocket came out, we started to accrue some more Game Boy games. Specifically, Pokemon's the one I played just an absolute ton of. But I didn't get into some of the good games of the Game Boy until people started putting emulators and things online. Because when I went to college, my computer was so slow that the best things it could run were Game Boy emulators. So, so that's where I ended up playing a lot of the Game Boy games was on my computer, weirdly enough. When the 3DS starts putting all the virtual console stuff, I have so many Game Boy games on my 3DS too.
Wow.
But I have like a gapped nostalgia. So I have like an original nostalgia with games that aren't that great, but I just remember the Game Boy itself. And then there's a later nostalgia where I play the actual games. I'm like, oh, these are outstanding.
I just recalled like an early memory of mine. Like that, I didn't actually own the Pocket for a while until after it was released. But I remember I had a friend that did have the Pocket. They had, I think it was the silver one. And around that time, I was like obsessing over the ice blue one. I think.
That was so great. Yeah.
I remember playing for the first time. I played Mortal Kombat, and I felt like so bad. I felt so bad playing Mortal Kombat on my friend's silver Game Boy Pocket. Like I was like, I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing.
I'm not. This game's too old for me.
No, dude, you're right. That was another big game. I always played Mortal Kombat. What am I thinking? I always played, and I mean, it wasn't gritty like the Sega games were. The Super Nintendo. It was
the Nintendo ones were always tame.
Yeah, it was very tame. That was another one I grinded a lot on. I remember playing that. And I was always sad, like Goro wasn't in the Game Boy version. He was like my favorite villain from the original series, and I always wanted to fight him, but he wasn't in it. But yeah, that one. I also played Terminator.
Oh my goodness. I had Mortal Kombat 2 for Game Boy. Now that you mention that, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
guys, we're tripping on nostalgia right now. What else we can remember?
That's a
Keep going. We're painting memories.
Well, we talked about. I wanted to bring this up too. We talked about Pokemon Red, but I also had Pokemon Silver. Okay,
Gold.
Yeah, gold. There, Ryan and I had like the opposite games we played on, but Pokemon Silver was phenomenal. I loved it. I never, for as much as I love Donkey Kong and stuff, like I never had a Donkey Kong game for it. I borrowed from listening to the show. One of my best friends, Brad Hunsinger, he had other games that I borrowed, and I remember borrowing. Like I got nostalgic memories for Donkey Kong games also from just playing it on a hot summer day on my Game Boy. Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong Country 2, or Donkey Kong Land 2. Come on, Jacob.
There you go. Yeah.
Donkey Kong Land 2. I remember playing those. So I had a lot of games for the Game Boy. I remember that, especially Roger Rabbit.
I got something. Yeah, right. You know what? I'll say this because I was thinking this earlier, Jacob. I'm glad that you're really into these weird games like Roger Rabbit and Radical Rex and all this crazy junk. Because my entire life, I've always gone and looked at games and go, "Who plays this crap?" And then now I know. I've met them and I know that. I'm like, listen. Now every time I see a junk game, I'm like, I bet Jacob loves this. I bet Jacob loves it.
That's hilarious. You know what? And that's funny you can say that because I'm going to call out our artist for the show, Kyle Martin. He always gives me crap because he says I don't experiment. I only play Mario and Donkey Kong. I only play a few games for Nintendo. I don't get out enough and play other style of games. And apparently I do, according to Tom. And I think they're awesome games.
But the direction you decide to go with that adventure is mind-boggling to me.
Final Fantasy or Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Exactly. It's like, well, which one do I want to play? Oh, give me that Radical Rex. What?
He's a T-Rex on a skateboard. How cool is that?
How can you go wrong? Oh, my gosh. So anyway, I do have this list. I don't know if you guys are interested, but I do have a list to see kind of what everybody else, what the world, I should say, when I say anybody else. I do have the list of the top-selling games for the Game Boy. If you guys would like to hear those. If not, we can move on and do something else.
Go for it.
Let's do it.
So check it out. I'll just do the top 10. Here we go. I got to change a couple of them because somebody put a Game Boy Color on this list. Okay, so number 10. You ready for this one? Donkey Kong Land.
Woo!
All right. We kept saying it. Donkey Kong Land, number 10. Next, Kirby's Dream Land.
Yeah.
Talked about that. It's a great game. Great game. This one, as much as I love Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, this one I always thought was better. Wario Land.
Yes.
Super Mario Land 3. So good.
That's one of my games.
So good.
Too.
Another one that blew up kind of around the end of the NES era, Dr. Mario was huge on Game Boy. Yeah. I think I had Dr. Mario on that too. Then number I lost track, Super Mario Land 2.
Yep.
The 6 Golden Coins. And then buckle up because you're going to hear this name a lot coming for the rest of the list. You have Pokemon Yellow. Then you have Super Mario Land.
Okay.
Then you have Pokemon Gold and Silver. Mm-hmm. Then actually at number 2, you ready for this one? Actually at number 2, Pokemon Red and Blue is number 2. You would think that'd be the number 1.
Crystal.
But the number one that was, it's Tetris. Tetris is the number one selling game on the Game Boy. The sales, you're looking at 35 million in sales on that.
That's
insane.
That was like their first bundle pack, though, wasn't it? It came with it.
Yep. Yeah, it came with the system, which is, again, a lot of people are like, oh, that's cheating. It's shipped with the system. And it's like, well, hey, everybody kept it, and it's still sold on top of that. So
I mean, that's why the system sold so much, because of that game.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. And it had the link capabilities. It was a perfect pack-in game.
Wow. That's awesome. I mean, I think we'd be not doing the Game Boy justice before we close out the show. That there's also so many fun, because of the technology at the time, like the Game Boy had so many accessories to it. And Tom, you talked about playing under the blanket of the flashlight, but I mean, come on, Nintendo came out with some genius accessories there to help you do that. You want to talk about some of those there?
So not counting any kind of third party stuff, which there was a bajillion third party things. I know, like I said, I had the official Game Boy carrying case that I bought that was shaped like a Game Boy. So it just looked like a giant Game Boy with a Game Boy inside of it, which was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. But you had the Snap-on light, you had the Snap-on speakers, you had Ryan brought it up, the camera, the Game Boy camera.
Yep.
Yeah, and the printer and all that stuff. Ryan, what other ones can you think of? I know those are the big ones off the top of my head.
I had some like third-party ones. Like I had it was a pink Pelican like magnifying / light.
Oh
I
had
that. I had the Game Boy. What was it? A fanny pack that I would always cart around with my Game Boy in. So of course
which one was it?
I had a fanny pack that was a Game Boy fanny.
Oh
pack.
yeah.
I think the company was Intech or something like that. So
yeah.
But yeah. I still have that. My Switch fits in it, so sometimes I'll put that on just for nostalgia's sake.
Absolutely.
And of course, I had the Game Shark. That was kind of a way to like hack into games sometimes, get infinite lives.
And further back so some of you kids remember like, oh, I remember Game Shark, but old man Tom here to help you out. I remember Game Genie.
Game Genie, yeah.
Game Genie was before Game Shark, so that was for Game Boy also.
Yeah. Wow. I don't remember what this was, but I remember having this accessory that I could clamp on top of the gray Game Boy, and it had like a magnifying glass on it that would come across the top. Maybe it was to help you see better. I really don't remember what, but it was like massive that it racked around like the entire system. I remember having that. And I remember the little lights that you could put on top before they had backlit stuff.
Yep.
Because guys, that screen was hard to see. I mean,
it really was.
Have you guys ever seen?
Now
go ahead, Tom.
Yeah. No. I was saying, go ahead.
You remember that little? Have you ever seen that GIF on online? It's like one of those things like kids today will never know the struggle. And like, it's this guy in the back of his car and he's like trying to play. And I remember doing this, like it's nighttime. So
yes, you got to lean almost out the window to try to catch light.
Catch the light from like the street light. It's like, oh yes, okay, I can play. You had to push pause if you hit if you got to a dark spot, but until like, oh yes, here comes a light. Real quick, turn it on. We got to play this.
Oh wow, I have those memories too. Just sitting in the back of the car, waiting for that light to pass by so I can play a little bit more.
Because I don't know how your parents were, but for some reason, my parents made it feel like it was a sin or against the law to have the car the light on inside the car.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even though there's like nothing wrong with it, that's what it was made for. But
it distracts other drivers, Jacob.
Oh, I get. Yeah,
that's what I was told.
Yeah. Now we live in an age of cell phone texting and driving. So
absolutely.
But yeah, that's so funny.
So I don't know if these count as accessories, but I was reminded of this. I guess they do. They weren't necessarily for the Game Boy system itself, but they did enhance the Game Boy software. We had two pieces of interesting. One was the Super Game Boy.
Yeah.
And this was just, you got to realize, a lot of you guys, you think about this point in time, this was a real weird nebulous time where we had Game Boy, Super Nintendo, and 64 kind of all in this nexus of time right here. Yep. So you had the Super Game Boy, which lets you play your Game Boy games on your Super Nintendo.
Right.
Awesome. Then you had also, a lot of people forget about this because it was very unique to a certain game, but the transfer pack for the 64 for Pokemon Stadium. You could put your Game Boy game in the transfer pack and it would transfer your Pokemon to the 64. It was witchcraft. It was awesome.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. That was amazing.
And then, I don't know if it counts, but the Game Boy Advance player for the GameCube also played original Game Boy games.
Yes, it does. It's a different generation, Tom.
Yeah, I know. But the Game Boy works on it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I can tell you one thing though. Like Super Game Boy, like I wanted that so bad as a kid. Like
Me
so
too,
bad.
dude.
I never ever got to get one, but I wanted that one. Like I would beg and beg and beg and beg and beg like every year. Like I need this. I need this. I would like fawn over it with my ads and Nintendo Power or whatever it was I had.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
My buddy had one, and that was one of the few things I was super jealous of. I was like, man, I really want that Super Game Boy.
Well, and I know we're not talking about the Advance, but they kind of did that with the GameCube though. Remember they had the bottom adapter you could plug it into.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah,
and then you could play your Game Boy Advance games that way. on the GameCube.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The Game Boy games worked on that too.
Oh, they worked on that as well. I thought you were just talking about the one for the Super Nintendo.
No. I was talking about the one for the GameCube.
Oh, okay. The Super Nintendo would have been even cooler though, because I mean, back then it was unheard of. Like, what? I could play my Game Boy games.
They colorized it, and you could change the color palettes, and
it was like a whole new game.
It was great. Oh yeah,
guys, I do think even though we moved into a time now where our home consoles are now our portable systems with Nintendo, I have to say, I mean, I think even with all the technological issues with the puke green backgrounds, like it was hard to see, and even though they were so tough, we're going to lose a charm of that connectivity of when you could do cool things, when you connect your Game Boy to your home console, or like you said, like we'll never have that awesome feeling of I can take my 2D Pokemon team and put them in a 3D battle arena and fight people. Like it was amazing that I could take my Charizard that I had trained up on a system that was completely different and not superior to a home 3D console. I could take these guys and put them in this game. Like that was awesome. Playing Metroid, you know, we talked about a while back, Ryan, Metroid, you could connect the Game Boy Advance Fusion game and unlock old games, the original game, and get the fusion shit from the Game Boy game on. Like now it's just like, hey, here's some DLC, give me some money. You know, we don't have those cool fidgets anymore. You know what I mean? We lose some special charms when technology gets more advanced and the way that the industry wants to go with things, I think.
Yep, and I think you're right. As much as I love the 3DS and really love the Switch, I think what the Game Boy is and what the Game Boy has done is over. And that's sad. You know, that brings a little tear to my eye when I think about it. But those of us that had Game Boys, and I'll lump in the Game Boy Color with this and the Game Boy Advance because it's still part of that era of that type of gaming. But it's gone, you know, especially when you look at the way phones are, the way people carry their phones, do things on their phone. A dedicated handheld system is a thing of the past. And it's sad. At least I think it is a thing of the past. It's sad, but I'm glad. I'm really glad. I don't know how often we get to say this on the show, but I'm super happy that I lived in the time where I got to have the fat brick Game Boy in the pocket and experience those games.
Me too.
Because it was a good time. And those of you guys that missed out, I don't want to tell you that you completely missed out because you can still play a lot of those games and they're super, super fun and you should. But like the struggle, as Jacob said earlier, that struggle is a part of me. It really is who made me who I am. And I'm going to miss that era of gaming. Glad I got to have it.
Well, and cell phones, I think, really hurt the industry. And I think ultimately that's what forced Nintendo into we have to combine our home console into our portable realm. And it's unique. It's different. It's awesome. It's new. I love it. I'm on board with it. Like I was playing the Switch today at work. I was playing the Zelda DLC, and like I got to go on a lunch break, and I posted a photo about it, and it still amazes me that this powerful system and the Zelda, this powerful of a game, I can take with me wherever I go. And that is so revolutionary. I mean, that I can play it at home and I don't have to stop playing it. That really is awesome to me. And it still blows me away. But yeah, there's something special. I hope that the future, I hope this isn't done. Like I mean, obviously technology is so advanced now. We're never going to get a low quality of what a Game Boy really was. Yeah, I just really hope that maybe for a cheaper option for kids, because the Switch is, I mean, it's an expensive piece of hardware that if you break it, that's not. Game Boys were made to be thrown against the wall. They were. Yeah. And I mean, there is a Game Boy in a museum that a military guy had. Remember, you heard about this story?
Yeah, in Desert Storm. Yeah, I was just going to bring that up too. I was like, the Desert Storm Game Boy is infamous.
It survived a tank bomb that it didn't, like the plastic around it melted some. Things like that, but it still works. It works to this day.
It still runs, yes.
Yeah, like that is amazing. And kids today, you can't, I would not give Riley my Switch No way. She would eat it and then throw it on the floor. So like maybe they can find something to bring back the Game. I miss the Game Boy line. The DS, honestly, the DS killed off the Game Boy, and it killed off once we got the DS. It really you stopped.
Let's be fair. The DS is the next Game Boy. I know they didn't call it Game Boy, but it totally was the next Game Boy.
It's just it was. You're right. They just started fresh with a new name. You're absolutely right. It
is
evolved.
Essentially the Game Boy dual screen.
Yep, it really is.
I wish they would have kept calling it that. Honestly, I like the Game Boy brand.
GBDS.
Yep, me too.
That would be so cool. The GB 3DS. So yeah, maybe they'll continue it. Maybe they'll put a Switch style small screen in a hard case like this, and you'll be able to play it like an old Game Boy. That'd be pretty cool.
Or we get that Game Boy Classic.
I really would like that.
Game Boy Classic with a backlit screen.
Isn't that just like a Game Boy Micro on its side? I mean, at
basically,
that point.
Yeah.
Basically,
Roger Rabbit better be on that.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we're gonna get the list for the Game Boy Classic, and he's gonna be like, "Where's Roger Rabbit?"
I will say, the SNES Mini. That's exactly what I said when I got. I was like, "Wait, where's Radical Rex?
Where's Radical Rex?"
And Jurassic Park Part 2. But well, guys, I think that's pretty good. You know, I think we gave the Game Boy some justice here. You know, there's different generations of it, and we're really focusing on the Pocket and the fatty gray boy,
the brick.
We'll talk about other Game Boys in the future, but no, this is a special piece in time that really set up the future for your cell phones, for any style of portable gaming we have today. It was set by Nintendo here, just like Nintendo really saved the home console market with the NES. And I'm thankful that Nintendo always needs to be around, because they're the ones who innovate and push games into new directions with new ideas. And if we lived in a world with just Sony and Microsoft, I would not play video games anymore today. I would only play the old stuff from Nintendo. And that's I
could probably agree with that, actually.
I really would.
As much as I actually like those other two companies, I would agree with you.
People say Nintendo should just make software and not hardware, but you wouldn't have the hardware you have today if it wasn't for Nintendo creating these new ideas and pushing the boundaries with motion, with home consoles, with Game Boy portable stuff, and all that. Nintendo changes the game. Yeah, maybe other companies put awesome, more powerful power into them. But Nintendo kicks it off, and that's what is so special about the Big N. So, guys, any final thoughts?
I think I'm good. I expressed my love. I love them, and I'm glad I had that experience.
I think I'm going to go out and get a Game Boy.
I know, man. I keep seeing them in secondhand places. I'm like, I should really pick that up. I
really want to join you guys. I need to recollect I need to find Roger Rabbit so I can beat it. But I will. I think that's good, guys. Guys, all month we're dedicating the month of July to Game Boy month. We really wanted to set aside to talk about the Game Boy, because we always talk about home consoles. We have talked about some Game Boy games in the past, but we wanted to really focus on the Game Boy. So all month we're going to be talking about Game Boy games specifically now. So be on the lookout for those, and we hope you enjoy them. But Ryan, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find us?
Sure thing, man. You can find us at dayspace.com. You can find us on iTunes and Google Play. Join us on our Facebook at facebook.com/NintendoNOS. Find us on Twitter at Nintendo_NOS. And if you want to shoot us an email, contact us at NintendoNostalgiaIN@gmail.com.
Awesome. You can also find me on Twitter. I am at Mr. Boomski. I'm not on there too much, but you can always find me on our Facebook chat, or looking at somebody's video and telling them how much it made me cry. We saw that old NES video on there the other day, and that really did. It got me all teary-eyed, and that brought me back, guys. That's what it's about, sharing the nostalgia.
Absolutely. And you can find me at NosJacob73 on Twitter. But other than that, guys, I think that's a wrap. So we'll see you next week, okay? Have a good one.
Have a good week.
Bye.